What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Q, Quinte, or Quintessential. Whatever you know me as the host of BLK Talk. Guess what? We have an exciting show for you today, so sit back, tune in, and join the conversation. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another exciting episode of BLK Talk. Guess what, guys? I have one of my favorite people in the world, one of the ladies that gave me the confidence, the opportunity, and the chance to, voice these chops on the airwaves. My author, entrepreneur, wine connoisseur, I guess, owner and founder of TasteTee Wines, my girl T Marie. Welcome to the show, friend.
Wait, friend, took me to get on here.
Well, it's been a minute. It's the first season. You was gonna be the first guest, but life kind of hit. So
Yeah,
it's perfect time. And in honor of you being on the show, today is going to be Tasty Saturdays.
I love it.
So yes, kudos to you. You got your glass. Now y'all know
I
I don't drink wine on
open.
the show. However, it's a special occasion. So did
Look,
you get it
it's
open back?
open forever.
You know what?
It's not only kid proof, it's grown up proof.
Especially when you had a long day. Yes, y'all see that? Tasty. Yes, tasty
It's
wine.
coffee, but not for real.
Yeah. So look, T, tell the people about you. Now look, if people have been under a rock and have not paid attention to me over the last 6 years, and they would know you. However, you've been around for so long, but for people who may not know you, let them know who you are.
Well, I've evolved to so many things, but I'm T Marie. I started off as a radio host, and I still love doing radio, but I have evolved into many things based on life experience. One of my favorite things, of course, is the dating coach. I am an author of the book called No More Boyfriends. I am the founder of the Facebook group that's amazingly, I don't even know what to say, communicative, funny. It's just everything. And that's No More Boyfriends as well. And then also, I am a winepreneur, is that if that's what you want to call it,
Yeah.
on wine, Tasty Moscato. And I also have, I didn't leave it out, Tasty, where's it at? Merlot
Well,
Blend. So I don't know, dove into several things, but all of it comes from a love of everything that has to do with me, my life, and my lifestyle. And that's where all of my ventures have come from. My lifestyle, the things that I love, the things that I love to do, the things that I love to share, and just the small luxuries is what I would call it, of doing life at whatever age you're doing life at. So that's me in a nutshell. But I'm still talking now and talking junk too. So just so we know. So
so
we know.
you've been in the entertainment industry behind the radio, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes
Mhm.
for, at this point, like 20 years or something like that. So how,
I'm not gonna let you put
not that
20
long,
years, but
ain't nothing wrong
but
with
it
that.
has been 10 years. It's actually been 11 years, actually.
I've been in the industry longer than you.
I've been in the industry 11 years since 2011.
Okay. Now, how did you get your start in the industry, and how did you know that was something that you wanted to do?
I've always loved radio. I've always been a radio girl. And so radio was always the way I communicated. I've got all my information. So when I moved here, I moved here as a hairstylist. And I guess that's another thing you guys should know. I moved here as a hairstylist. I've done Bonner Brothers, I've done magazines, I've done all of that. But I always loved communicating. I always loved talking, and I always loved radio. So I went back to school, finished at Connecticut School of Broadcasting, got my broadcasting degree from there. And after that, I wound up being an intern at V103. So if you don't know what V103 is, it's one the major radio station here in Atlanta. Wound up interning for two of the biggest radio stars. So I started off with Frank Ski and wound up working with Ryan. And Ryan was always my favorite. He actually was the person who made me want to go into radio. So to be able to intern for him and then work with L. Duncan, which who's now on ESPN, was just amazing. So I was her entertainment producer when she was on the morning show. So we
Mhm.
just it just evolved from that. I've actually worked with Joyce Littell, worked with her, and she actually gave me my actually speaking talk when she had her digital radio station. So I've evolved from some of the greats and some of the best experiences, and again, I've loved doing it. I'm not a rookie at this at all. I think it takes a special talent to be able to do radio, a way of communicating with people, a way of connecting with people. And I've just worked with some of the greats, and I've just been honored to be able to do so and still be able to have some of those relationships as well as do my own thing for the last, 7, 8 years on my own. So, yeah.
So, having the opportunity to work with some of the greats, what are some of the main things that you feel like you've learned that have kind of poured over into who you would become as a personality?
Research one and connection two. Knowing what you're talking about, knowing before you go on the air or before you start talking actually what you're talking about. I don't do any. I write notes maybe, but I don't write down anything specifically that I'm talking about. That I'm going to talk about. But I do research it.
Yeah.
I do go and do the background checks and the get the facts, about what I am talking about before I start talking about it. Then actually, being able to communicate that in a way and in a language that people can understand, because we talk everything from politics to religion to love to everything, and numbers and finances and stuff like that. So everybody can't relate to just being able to come off the cup and just talk about it, right? I want you to be able to hear what I'm saying and connect with it and I give you stories or background and things like that. Bless you, honey.
Thank you.
so that I can relate, or the listener can relate to me, just as if I'm not on the radio, but like we're sitting there having a conversation. And I think the biggest part of doing radio is really having a conversation with the audience, to your listeners and your viewers, if it's video. It's being connected and being able to be relatable. And I think that's been one of my gifts, is being able to be relatable.
And I've been blessed enough to be able to watch you over the last 7 years, been witness a lot of great things that you've done. So behind the scenes, when you were working with some of the greats, and in front of the scenes when you became a personality of your own, from each of those, what is one memory that you'll like never forget?
Oh, well, I don't know if what one thing I will never forget. Um,
From
I
working
think
behind the scenes and then one from being your own.
so. I can tell you one thing I'll never forget from working with Ryan. This was the thing that actually taught me how to research, and I tell this story to anybody. That's when we're talking about radio and when you're getting into radio. We were doing a story. He got a story about some chicken wings, right? While we were on a break, he got a story about some chicken wings. It was a chicken wing story, and he was like, "Hey, T, I need you to go get the research, get the content about the chicken wings." Now we had 2 minutes before we went back on the air too, and I was like, "Okay, where is it?" He said, "Go find it." I'm like, "Wait, what?" He's like, go find it. And I had like literally 2 minutes to pull the story that I didn't know anything about, get it to him, and get it so that he could get the facts ready before 2 minutes. That was the most nerve wracking, but at the end of it, um, rewarding moment I've ever had with him, because he really taught me how to go find it quick and get back on, which is so important. A story could come up at any moment in radio. Like, we could be watching the news and we need to get the facts. And so you have to be able to go Google search, research, whatever it is, and get those facts before you get back on the air. And if it's two
Mm.
minutes, if it's a minute, whatever, you got to get it and get back on. So the importance of researching, being able to pull information and get it and be ready to present it, like that that was crazy. And so I really learned how to research and how to get the story and how to get it back to the personality at the time, so that it could be told and accurate and be in real time, so you're not getting it later, but actual real time stories that are breaking. So that's my most memorable moment in radio as far as when I was with Ryan. And the other thing that I always talk about when he did me was image. I came to work one day and my nails were not polished, they were chipped. And he looked at my
What?
hand. He's like, so you just gonna walk around here like a fifth grader all day? And I was just like, and and ever since then, I have been on point about my image and how important my image is to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so image is everything. I mean, it goes with you. You sell not only the story but yourself. So when people see you, they are actually buying in to who you are. Yeah.
Now, over the past few years, you've gotten the opportunity to dive more into the love, dating, and relationship um area. When did you realize, like, you know what? I'm kind of good at this, and I feel that the world needs what I have.
I think I didn't know whether I was good at it or not. I just knew that I had gone through something that I felt like needed to be shared. Now, I'm always good with being vulnerable again, and I think that's a big thing when it comes to connecting with people, being truthful, being transparent. And at the time, I had just gotten out of a relationship that I had been in for like 2 years that just didn't seem to be developing into anything. I wasn't getting fed, but I wasn't getting what I needed. But yet I felt like I was playing this role of a wife in this boyfriend situation, this boyfriend girlfriend situation. And at the end of it all, I was not getting what I wanted. I wasn't in the position that I wanted. I wasn't getting the things that I needed, but yet I was doing everything as a wife because I felt like these were the things that were necessary to make this person or get this person to see me as that and marry me. And I
Mm,
realized that everybody doesn't deserve that, and that those traits do not always transfer into becoming a wife. There's so many other things that play into if a man is going to wife you or marry you. And I learned that in that. And so I started journaling to myself some of the things I could have done different, some of the things that I did wrong. And I wasn't just finger pointing. And that's another thing that we do. I wasn't just finger pointing at him. I was actually looking at me and being accountable for the things that I did and what I needed to change, and some of the things that I needed to twerk in order to be seen and to get the results that I wanted in dating. And so after it became again a journal for myself, I was like, man, I know I'm not the only person who's gone through this, and I know I'm not the only person who can learn from this and could benefit from this information. So thus the book No More Boyfriends was birth, because I was like given these titles that we have happen to get sometimes in these relationships become placeholders. And for women, when we are titled and we think we're the girlfriend, we'll transition that into wife because of how we are and who we are as women. And we'll start being and doing these wifely things. And I know people are like, what's wifely things? Well, there's several things, and we could go into that, but there's different vulnerabilities that you give, different spaces that you give, different things that you do, time that you give, energy that you give, body part. You give you become so much more vulnerable to this person. And I mean, giving, nurturing. You open yourself up to becoming the wife in a girlfriend situation, and it's just not that simple. You know what I'm saying? It's just so much more to it. And we have to be careful in getting these titles. So I haven't had a boyfriend since then. Never.
yeah.
And anybody I have dated since then has always been my
Friend.
friend.
Friend. I'm telling you, I've tried to slip her up a couple times, but when I tell you guys, she is so serious about not having any boyfriends. And when it comes to friends and family and things like that, like she'll check you and give you
Yeah.
the reasons, which can be found in the book, No More
No more
Boyfriend,
boyfriend.
as
Yeah.
to why those titles are or are not important. So at the end of this, we'll get you guys all the information so that you can go ahead and purchase and more. We'll continue to talk about that. But so the No More Boyfriends book, the No More Boyfriends movement, the No More Boyfriends Facebook page, it transitioned into you now preparing to launch something that is amazing and that the world needs. And if you guys are looking below, you see T Marie dating coach. So tell us about this dating
Yes.
coach.
So the dating coach thing came from knowing what it takes or learning what it takes to have a successful relationship. If you don't know how to date, you cannot have a good relationship. Dating is the activity. And I want to tell you all again, dating is the activity that gets you over into the next phase of going into a relationship. Now, what people happen to, they love to do is say we're dating and make dating a title. Let me tell y'all this one more time. Dating is an activity. If you go look up, there's nothing about dating that says this is a title. It is the opportunity that you're taking to get to know someone to see if you want to go into a relationship. And if you don't learn how to date, then you're not going to have good relationships because you're not going to know the things and the activities and the things to look out for to weed out people that you do not need to go to the next level with. And so for me, that was important to teach people how to date. So I came up with the Date Great program, which is an amazing thing, and as well as the companionship goals and how to teach people how to not only date, but I can put you with someone. I'm matchmaking, if you will. So I also can connect you. Your companionship connector is what I am.
Now, look, before she continues, guys, she is not just a person who can find you somebody and hook you up. Like, she actually studied this, like certifications and research and things like that. So, like, when you spend your money, just know that you're spending your money on something real. This is not just the homegirl hookup, oh, my friend, you. No, no, this is real. Like, this is some professional stuff. And when it comes to people who are in the market today, why is it important to reach out to a dating coach in order to help you find what you don't have?
Well, the reason why I say it's great to have a dating coach because a lot of times we don't even know what we're looking for. We don't know if we're actually ready. A lot of times we're dating out of trying to fill a void, trying to feel some loneliness, and we don't know if we're actually prepared to date. So what a dating coach does is actually what I do. I'm not going to say what everybody else does. What I do is actually get into your business about you, not about the other person. Because normally when I'm starting, the first thing people start off about is, "Hey, what's wrong with men, or what's wrong with women, or what's wrong with whoever the other person is?" And I have to back you up and be like, "Wait a minute, let's talk about you." Because at the
Mhm.
end of the day, you are the common denominator in every relationship you have had. So if every relationship has failed, whether you've been the victim or you've done somebody wrong, it's still you. So let's go back and talk about you and what and why you are choosing the type of people that you choose, why you're entertaining the type of people that you're entertaining, and why you're doing some of the actions that you do that may not be attracting the type of partner that you want. So it actually starts with you. And people, you have to have patience in order to date well because you have to get yourself together first and find out if you're whole enough to go entertain other people. Because when you're whole, you'll entertain or date or encounter people on a different level, not from a place of want and need, but from a place of wanting. This is what I want, not something that I need, but this is something that I want. Because when you're dating need based, you will date people who will feel a need, but may not be the best for you. So this
Mhm.
person's got money, right? And you broke, and so you're gonna date the person with money because they got money, but they don't have any of the characteristics or any of the morals that you need in order to sustain a good relationship. And because you're lacking money, you'll stay with this person because they have money. So when your needs are met, when you have all your essential needs met, then you are quicker to be like, you were quicker to start dating with standards at that point instead of needs. So you need to date standard based and not need based.
So not for me, but like if I'm coming to you as a single man who is interested in love, I don't all the way know what I want. I've never acknowledged um what I feel my issues are or what I've contributed to or taken away from a relationship. What are some of the steps that I must take within myself before like being accepted into the program? And are there like circumstances where you just be like, nah, I don't want your money. I don't want you as a client. I can't help you. You
Actually, yes. I, all money is not good money because at the end of the day, I'm not bringing home headaches. Like I don't want to just have clients. I want to have people who actually want to get better and get the type of relationship that they want and deserve. And so when one of those things that you have to be is truthful with yourself.
mm-hmm,
Most people aren't truthful with themselves when it comes to their part or the part that they played in not only a failing relationship, but it comes to who they are as a person. Anybody who makes excuses for everything that they've done and every way that they've acted is not going to be a good client for me, and they're not going to be good for dating because
mm,
it's always going to be finger pointing at the other person instead of looking back in reflection upon themselves. So a person who's not truthful with themselves, a person who's not willing to see uh, the actions that they've done or may not have done, it's going to be a no for me, and it's going to be a no for people out in the dating world. It's just so many people who will not look at themselves and admit the part that they play when it comes to not only failing relationships, but failing friendships, failing businesses, failing in a lots of failures in their lives. And if they don't look back at the part that they played, or even acknowledge that they played a part, it's going to continue to be a pattern of failures and incompletion because they're not recognizing the part that they're playing in getting what they want. So if you're not willing to look at yourself and be like, yeah, I could have did this different, or yeah, I should have been better at this, or I could have paid more attention, whatever that thing is, you're not going to have a successful relationship at all, and you're going to be toxic to everybody else too.
including yourself oftentimes. Now, when it comes to like hiring a dating coach or going to a speed dating event or something like that that puts you in a different setting to get you out there to date somebody, what are some of the common misconceptions that you've discovered over the years?
I think that when you're hiring a dating coach, you think that you're automatically going to get it together and you're instantly going to be ready to get out there and find somebody. And that's not the case. That's why the Date Great programs gives you steps. There's steps to getting out in the dating world and finding the right person for you. And those are some of the things. There's no quick fixes. But one of the things you have to be is available. I have to tell everybody, you have to be available. You have to be available emotionally. You have to be available physically. And when I say physically, that means getting out. Like people think that they're going to find their mate in the house. They don't have time to do this. They don't have time to do that. But yet at the same time, they're saying there's no good men, there's no good women. Well, where have you been to discover anything if it's a good or bad? You haven't even been outside. So now you got to learn how to be sociable, how to put yourself out there. And some people and women especially think that because we're women, that somebody's just supposed to gravitate to us and we don't have to shoot our shot because we're not supposed to be the one out there going to find the man. We're
Mm,
just supposed to wait for him to come to us. And that is such a wrong way of looking at things. You definitely should not chase a man at all. You shouldn't pursue a person who's not pursuing you. And no, I don't believe in necessarily asking a person out, quote unquote. But I do believe in making yourself available. That means smiling at the person, putting yourself in their path, saying hello, giving them some energy that opens up the door that allows them to feel comfortable with stepping to you and asking you how you are. It's so funny. When we were out, remember I told him I had posted on my page how to catch a fine ass man with four plaits in your hair. Like what? Literally, I was looking a mess, right? Just a full mess, four plaits in my hair. But because what did I do? I spoke to the man, I gave him a compliment. That man gave me attention the rest of the time we were
Yeah.
there. And it was all because I opened the door to allow interaction. And I could do, and I think I've learned, I've countered I've mastered that. Thank you, Lord, for the words. I've mastered being able to open that door to catch anybody that I want. Like I have no trouble. And I ain't the finest chick. I'm cute now. But it's people that's thinner than me, that's got bigger butts than me, but I have no trouble. And I have never had trouble, especially in my last few years, getting a man's attention or having or dating or Um, so I think once you learn how to, as women especially, open yourselves up to the opportunity for
Mm.
dating, and you will attract more people who are the type of people that you want to date. But you can't find anybody closed. And that's a big deal for women.
What is a first date no? And I'm asking that because a lot of people that I know, LGBTQ, straight, all the different kind of people. Um, some people like to have their first date at their house. Like, oh, I cook for you. Come on over to the house. Is it okay to have a first date at home?
I don't think so. First of all, you still don't know this person. Even if you talked on the phone, I think it's a very your home is a very intimate place.
Mm,
Not only your home, now you've given this person access to where you stay, where you live, your lifestyle and all of those things. And I don't think on the first date that's a place to have your first date. I just don't think it's a good idea. And then too, it's not necessarily creative. Now, people think you have to spend a whole lot of money on the first date, and you don't. And anybody requires you or says that you do, that's not probably the person you want to date. There's so many things that you can do on a first date because the first date it should be all about getting to know the person. It should be about finding out you have similarities and connection and all of that. And you can do that over a glass of wine. You can do that over some appetizers. You can do that at the ice cream.
why?
You can do that over some ice cream. You can do that over a dessert. Like there's things that you can do because this is about conversation and getting to know. And I will
Mm,
admit all the time, I dare not. I would not if I was y'all spend $100, $200 on the first date. I mean, 100 is easy because that's $50 a piece. But $200, I wouldn't do it. And
mhm.
anybody that makes you feel like you should do it, please note that that's what their expectations are going to be. Your wallet, and you spending the whole time. So if a woman is not interested in just getting to know you, period, she's not the woman for you. And I'm sorry, ladies. I have friends that be mad at me about this, but you need to open your mind past finances. Okay. And not that finances aren't important. Everything is everything has its place and things are more important to one than the other. But if a woman is strictly like I can't meet you for coffee because
Mhm.
you feel like you're not spending enough money, she's not the one. She's no, I'm not gonna say she's not the one. I'm gonna say she's very pocket friendly, and you're gonna have to come out of your pocket. And
See, okay. So the next thing that I wanted to know is, when you first meet somebody, oftentimes people say that your representative shows up. You know,
absolutely.
the real you when you first meet somebody. Now, is there a such thing as letting those guards down and actually being yourself? And how how can a person do that without feeling like they have to come to the table impressing somebody?
Um, if you feel like who you are isn't impressive, you need to step back and reevaluate dating anyway. You don't need to be dating. If you don't feel like who you are is enough, you don't need to be dating.
Okay, all right.
You need to be working on yourself. You need to be working on
Yeah.
yourself. You need to be working, getting some self healing. You need to be doing something other than dating. though. If you feel like you have to put on this front to be accepted, to be wanted, to be all of those things, and you can't come authentic, um, then yeah, you don't need to be out there dating. Now, is there a way to behave? Yeah, I'm sure there's a way you should behave. I don't know how to be anything other than me, but I guess there's a way you should behave. Um, and that's just with courtesy and
Mm-hmm.
genuine. So don't come trying to feel like you got to put on this front, but just come like, you know what? Hey, this is me. This is who I am authentically. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is what I do. This is what I don't do. And then that's the end of it. And if that person doesn't like that, then it's a wrap anyway. So you shouldn't be with anybody you that you aren't authentically. If this is not who you really, really are, you're gonna just think about how miserable you're gonna be having to pretend to be this person all the way up. And guess what? When they find out you're not, they leave you. Or be like, yeah, this is not what I want because this is not who you really, really are. So the most important thing you can be is authentic, is be yourself, intentional, you know. I think when you're those things, you can't lose because when you're those things, you're going to attract exactly what's good for you, not something that's good for something that you're pretending to be. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, choosing love as opposed to the irresponsibility of falling in love. Talk about.
Oh, yeah. I've said this a million times. I think falling in love is so irresponsible. I think falling in love is just like falling anywhere. You are subject to breaking something because you have no intentions of anything. You're just allowing what happens to happen. And to a degree, as you progress with somebody, that's one thing. But just to be like, I'm just gonna go and let it just do what it do and hope for the best, it's irresponsible. I think people think because love is an emotional thing that it should just be freely given and tossed and had and just let you do what you will. But understand, breaking your heart as many times is just as bad as breaking a bone. Many times it's harder to heal every time you break it. Yeah, you can heal it, but it's weaker and a little more damaged every time. So it's less open. It's harder to use. It's harder to function. And so when you're more intentional about things, I know that some people want to feel like that's robotic, but you got to think about all the important things that you make decisions on in your life, how intentional you are about that. Buying a house, buying cars, choosing jobs, career change, friendships. How intentional are you? Your if you are in the business, your PRs, your coaches, whatever. You're so intent. Your doctors. You're so intentional about who you choose in those regards because you know how they perform is going to benefit or not benefit you, and it's going to help or hurt you. So why would you not be just as intentional when it comes to choosing a mate? Because a mate is someone you're going to be with for your life, share your life. You're going to be longer with this person. You're going to give the most to this person. You're going to be with this person the most. You got to trust this person the most. This person is supposed to protect you and cover you and pray for you and have your best interests at heart. Why would you just allow just anybody to take that position and hope for the best? You shouldn't. There's steps you should take when it comes to deciding who you want to be in your life because that person can break you or make you. It can help make you a better person or it can break you in pieces to where you're not usable, you're not useful to yourself or anybody else. So we got to start understanding it's not only important to have a great mate, for just partnership, but for your mental health as well. It's just as important for your mental health to have a person who is damaging to your mind, damaging to your heart, damaging to your soul, not speaking life into you, not knowing your love languages, not willing to do this, telling you what you can and cannot do. You have to be understand the responsibility to yourself when it comes to choosing a mate. And if you're not be as intentional as you are when it comes to losing weight, like you know you can't have cake, so don't be over there eating cake. You gotta be just as intentional. You don't need nobody that's well, I don't know, let's just say smoking or whatever those things are. You don't need nobody who talks crazy. You know, you don't need nobody who cuss you out. You know, you don't need nobody who talk bad to you. You know, you don't need somebody when you need words of affirmation who refuse to give you words of affirmation, who refuse to compliment you, who refuse to give you those things to understand your love language. You don't need those people in your life. So be intentional about that. You know, get away from the fairy tales of love is just falling and it's just beautiful and it's just Cinderella and all of that. It's not, baby. It's
Yeah.
none of that. It's absolutely none of that. It's a beautiful thing with the right person, but the trick is getting the right person.
So I don't want you to, I mean, I know you've given a lot today, but as we prepare for the Date Great program, I want people to book you and go to the website. So with that being said, before we jump into the wine, how can people um become a part of the program? How can they hire you to get to find them love?
So you can go to KatrinaMarie.net.
Yes.
Uh, Everything is there, from the signing up for the day grade program to the pricing to the programs that we have coming up. You know, we have you and I were talking about. We have a panel that's going to be coming up. We have a mixer that's going to be coming up.
Not that
Uh,
yet.
no, what's love got to do with it? Podcast is going to be amazing guests on there talking about how to connect outside of love. Out, you know, that love is not the sustainer of relationships. There's a lot of people who love people that they're cheating on, that they're breaking their heart, cussing and fighting. There's a lot of people out there doing a whole lot of stuff to people that they love, which means love is not the end all or be all when it comes to relationships. So you could go to, if you, everything you can find on is KatrinaMarie.net. That is the rebrand, is an amazing page. It's got so many things. When we start launching next week, you will be able to see Man Crush Monday, Woman Crush Wednesday. These are single men and women who are available and wanting to date. These are people that are personally screened and they are open to your comments and contacts and all of that. And I think that's one of the great ways of connecting people, is to set them out there and be like, hey, I want to meet somebody. And I'm only dealing with intentional men and women. You can find anybody else by yourself that's wasting time. But for me, if you're looking for a relationship and you're looking for companionship, then that's what I'm here for.
Now, look, how can people submit for Man Crush Monday, Woman Crush Wednesday? How can people submit themselves for that?
Send it just to Katrina, I'm lying. T Marie, number 4, letter U at Gmail. And that's where you could submit your pictures, your bio, what you're interested in, and your contact information to be not your full contact. So I'll have a contact information for them to hit you up on so that they just don't have all your personal information. But I'm taking men that like women that like women, bisexual, everything, because everybody's looking for love, you know. And I just think that being able to create an opportunity for intentional people to meet intentional people is an amazing thing.
Intentional people to meet intentional people. I
And
love it.
so,
So make sure you guys definitely visit KatrinaMarie.net. Now, before we finish, I'm over here feeling real good because normally I don't drink during conversation, but tasty wines. It started off as tasty Moscato, then it was a tasty red blend, and tasty wines has taken off, and it's been a little over a year at this point. And
yeah.
tasty wines is just like taken off, and the world loves it. Like, how does that feel to know that something that you love, that you put your hard work, sweat, energy, and taste buds into, people love it and appreciate it, and they actually support it?
uh, it's amazing. You know, we talked about me wanting to do wine for a while, and to have the opportunity to be able to create something, have something that's created that people actually love.
Mhm.
Funny to watch people people taste it and their eyes light up like, damn, I wasn't expecting this. This is really good. And and that to me, this it encompasses who I am. I want people to taste this and be like, this is not just your regular wine. And I think anybody who's had tasting Moscato or the Merlot blend can tell you that this is not just your regular wine. It's not something that you have, um, you know, every day. This is something that when you're tasting, you're like, damn, this is really good. And so
For
to
that
be a
15,
year game, huh?
is that 15%. You see
Percent
these
about
rosy cheeks? My cheeks were not as rosy when we started. Ooh.
like 15%. I'll be like, yeah, 15%. So it's a sip slow and sexy. I call it sip slow and sexy. So it really take the time with you, enjoy it. It's not something you're going to turn up because you're trying to hurry up and get drunk because it's only 5 or 8%.
Yeah.
It's something you have to sip slow, and it's definitely a great date wine. But be careful. Don't go for the whole bottle on the date. Okay, I mean, I'm just saying, do not go for the whole bottle on the date. You may wind up doing some grown things that you regret. I didn't set up for that. I don't want nobody calling me, talking about your wine. Did it? No, ma'am, no, sir. Y'all grown. You did that to yourself.
Look, it might have been the wine, it might have been the date great or companionship goals conversation, or it may be the empower sense.
Oh, you know what? Let me tell you something. I cannot wait to get this Empower Sense back on the market. A friend of mine had some, and hold on, I'm trying to do multiple things. Who got kids? Who got children?
Oh well, I don't, but I'm pretty sure it's a couple people out there listening that got a few babies.
I got a multitask. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Oh
So
no,
there we go. Okay.
it's okay.
Okay. But if you got kids, you know what I'm going through. And as much as I want to try to be an adult in situations, I can't. It just don't work like that all the time. But what's I talking about?
We were talking about empower sense coming back.
Oh Lord. Okay, so somebody had an Empower Scent candle because I hadn't had any in a while, and they lit it, and I was like, "That candle smells so good," and he was like, "This your Empower Scent." I was like, uh, "Those things are amazing," and that candle people still ask me about, and so I'm glad you asked me. I am in production of getting them back on the market, and they will probably be back in the top of August. So I'm excited about all the things that I've been able to do. I've been off track some a little bit just because life, and I know if you know me, I was engaged earlier this year and I lost my fiance to cardiovascular disease, heart disease. And so that was very hard for me. Um and it's a lot to take on when you found love and found the person that you want to share and do life with, only to be able to do that for um, a short amount of time. And so it took its toll. But I'm going to tell you this, and I will say this to anybody. If you've ever been loved, you can't stop loving. So people ask me, are you thinking of dating again? I absolutely will, because this is the thing outside. So this is the thing in the car. Y'all, I'm sorry. I have to,
Your mama is busy real quick.
okay. So edit 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So honestly, to be able to have love, if you've had real love, if you've had true love, you will always want love. Because if you've ever been loved, if you've ever been truly loved from a deep place of somebody, it's something you're gonna want again. And I know that I want to experience that same thing that he and I had. He loved me from a different place. He loved me from his inside. He loved me from a point that it was always about making sure that I was happy and I was good. Even when he was suffering and tired sometimes, when he was in the hospital trying to recover, he was planning a birthday for me. Do you understand what type of person or type of love a person has to have for you to be planning something for you while they're in the hospital trying to recover for themselves. The one thing about it is, yes, I will love again, I will have a relationship again, but he has definitely set a standard, right? He has set a standard to the way I love. I always had a standard, and he met that standard. And now that standard has been elevated. So I know what love looks like. I know what it feels like. And I know that there's, that type of love out there. So for anybody who feels like that there's no good men and women out there, that's not the truth. You just have to be, again, my favorite word, intentional about finding that love and living your life to experience those great things. So just not take a chance, because I would never tell you to take a chance, but be intentional and go out there and find and connect with what's good for you.
Yes, yes. T, I appreciate it so much. I'm so glad that we finally got the opportunity to do this. Guys, make sure that you visit katrinamarie.net so that you can get a piece of tasty wines. You can get empower sense. You can date great, companionship goals, and whatever else she decides that she may want to do this year, because something else probably is coming.
Yeah,
So,
and don't forget about what's love got to do with the podcast that we'll be launching next week on Wednesday as well. The amazing Jeremy Holloway. If you all know him, go follow him. You'll see him. He is one of the funniest but most sincere people when it comes to dating. He has a great following. He does a lot of different skits and stuff, and he has decided to join me um
okay.
chat. So I can't wait for you guys to meet him. This is going to be amazing. So if you go follow him, Jeremy Holloway on IG, he's got like 1 million followers or so. Go follow him and just tell him that T said come holler at him. I promise you.
Now we'll listen to the podcast.
It will be on uh on Spotify or
Mm,
Apple Play.
okay.
Yep.
Hold up. What? Apple Play?
Is it Apple Play?
Apple Music or Google Play?
Google Play, Apple. What is it? Whatever Apple got that.
Or Apple has like their iPod thing. So yeah, and guys, I'm pretty sure there'll be a link on her Instagram and katrinamarie.net. So
Yeah.
you can find it all there. So T, I appreciate you. Look, we made it work. We did it. And I wish you so much success. And of course, I'll be right there as your boop 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 boop. So I appreciate it.
It's so many amazing things that we have going on in Q. I will always say, and I try to take every opportunity when we're on together to tell you how proud I am of you, how excited I am for you, how everything that you're doing right now is just, I'm so in awe of your growth and the things that you're doing. And I am so glad to be a part of who you are, your life and development. I think you are doing such an amazing job. And I want you to keep going and keep growing, because this has so many potential outlets for you. You just don't even know yet. So you keep doing what you do. And I love you and support you all the way.
And I love you back and I appreciate it. And I'll probably look at this and cry later. But I ain't crying now because I ain't your fault. I appreciate it. And you already know next season, this season, whenever you need to come back, BLK Talk is your home. So come on back. We'll have more conversations. And we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Um, all the information will be in the YouTube description. So make sure you guys follow all of the links that are in there, the Instagram, the websites, the purchasing wines, all that good stuff. But we thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Love you guys.